watch. Wake up. You have fire to watch.
This is Pacho. Do you read me?
Be advised, you are coming in weak and unreadable.
Say again, Com Tower. This is Pacho. Do you read me? Over.
Pacho, this is Con Tower. I read you Lima Charlie.
Com Tower. Request permission to launch and commence the field op. Over.
Stand by. Pacho, permission granted. Say again, permission granted.
Roger that. Launching podcast in 3, 2. You are now entering the field op with your host, Pacho Correa, Chief Warrant Officer 3, United States Marine Corps retired. Get some. Hurrah! Get some. Hurrah! What's going on, everybody? It's your boy, Francisco Correa. You kill my father, prepare to die, a.k.a. Pacho. Yeah, I'm your host for today. We got an awesome show. Let's just get all the pleasantries out of the way before we kick it. The show is brought to you by Primerica. Let me ask you this. When was the last time that you looked at, where is that you are right now financially and where is that you want to be? Well, if you haven't done that in a long time, give the folks at Primerica a call. And it's all right there in the show description. Follow the link and put yourself in for a quick a little 30-minute phone call. I mean, it's a lot of good information, and they'll help you pave the way and give you a blueprint as to how to maximize your financial money's coming in, as well as implement a good strategy. So it's all right there. No commitments, no bullshit, no anything. Just give them a call, and at the end of the day, you may get some good info. Also, this show is brought to you by the VA. So here's an awesome message from Mike Richmond.
This message is from the U.S. Department of Veterans Affairs. Did you serve in the military? If so, you can obtain a free lifetime pass to more than 2,000 federal recreation sites. These sites are located across more than 400 million acres of public lands, including national parks, wildlife refuges, and forests. The lands host activities to fit any lifestyle: hiking, biking, fishing, camping, and much more. Gold Star families are also eligible for these free lifetime passes. Plus, they cover entrance fees for a driver and all passengers in a car, or up to 3 additional adults at sites that charge per person. Obtaining one is easy. Just go to the National Park Service website, nps.gov, or the National Park Service app.
There's a lot of good benefits associated with the VA. So I keep saying, and I say it again, it is your due diligence to make sure that you get, those benefits, because at the end of the day, you gave your pound of flesh to the government, to the United States. So you do rate these benefits. So make sure you do that. If you need help, give us a call here. We'll plug you in with the right people. Also, this show is brought to you by the American Constitution. We wouldn't be where we're at today. So if you like the show, like, subscribe, and follow, or perhaps check something out from situadio.com. And if you want to know more about podcasting and such, my man Brian Colburn got you all taken care of. So give them a shout out. So I think that's pretty much it. Hey, let's get the show on. Let's get the show on the road. Today we're gonna do a little bit different. I got an awesome panel of some former guests of the show. And, we're just going to talk about some things that a lot of us can relate and that we've been a part of. So let's bring everybody up on deck right now. We got Dan, Ken, and Rob. Hey, welcome, everybody. Thanks for your service. It's great having you here. So as I told you guys, what prompted the show, and I shared it with you, is that I sent you a text or an article in regards to, I guess there's some red heifers, some red cows that are going to be sacrificed, in the Middle East, in the Israel area. And I know that's always been a hotbed for instability and given the fact that everything that happened months back with Hamas and everything. So reading from that article, I mean, that's going to upset a lot of people in that area. And I just want to get your thoughts and opinions. A lot of us have deployed. Ken and I served together in a time frame where we're kind of in the middle pose, a little bit after Desert Shield, Desert Storm, and then later on, obviously 9/11. So I think he brings a different perspective in the sense that maybe let's look at things a little different, because we had a lot of good conversations. So what do you guys think? What in regards to that article, I mean, how much of an impact or how many people could that potentially piss off in that particular area? Who would like to enlighten us who wants to be first?
Nobody ever wants to be first.
Well, I spent a significant part of my adult life in the Middle East, in the military, and then as a contractor. There's a lot of people very upset right now. So I know a lot of people still in the Middle East. A particular American who is a Muslim who's working there still. He's very upset over it as an American, but as a Muslim, he's upset over it. So it's having a huge impact on people in that region.
But as a country, we're failing them. Well, not we, but the people in charge right now are failing them by backpedaling and doing all these things. And instead of supporting like we're supposed to be supporting them, I mean, because if you go back far enough, you'll realize that like Israel and America are together and always have been pretty much. And we're losing this battle on more than one front. I mean, we have people in the White House right now that don't believe in God, and you don't have to believe in God, but you should at least give people their due. And they're not doing that. They're not even giving them the opportunity to fight for themselves without cutting them off. And we're paying for proxy wars more than we're helping our own our own people, because they're part of us. I mean, we're stuck together like glue, and we always have been. And when we had Trump, we never had that problem, but now we're in a different scenario.
And just to clarify for everybody, for our audience, in this article, basically by sacrificing one of these red heifers, it would cleanse that area. I guess it's kind of like the blood will cleanse the area, and I guess you can take it two different ways. It will cleanse all the all the folks from Jewish faith, so to speak. Whereas obviously in the Muslim faith, they follow their prophet, so to speak. So, and in regards to the whole instability, so if this was to happen, or it is going to happen, I think they're looking sometime this year making it a go. That already being with what happened with Hamas a few months back, and and all the lives that were lost, I think this would just be the final match to set off that entire that gasoline pile of wood. What do you guys think? Ken, what's up? What are your thoughts on that?
Well, I watched I read the article that you gave us, and I watched the news clip from CBS, of course. And when I was watching it, they were saying like one of the things that Hamas and the Palestinians, one of the reasons why they did what they did, it was just overlooked when they massacred those people, was because that this was getting ready to be done. And I'm sorry, I disagree with that 100%. I mean, I don't give a damn I understand, okay, yeah, it's your religion and stuff like that, but in my opinion, killing innocent people based on the fact, or you're going to tie that into, oh, well, they're getting ready to sacrifice these red cows to cleanse the nation, so we're going to massacre these innocent people because it's pissing us off.
Yep.
And I just completely disagree with that.
And remember, we really have to remember something too. Like, we have a portion, not half, because it's a small faction. They're just the loudest part. We're not loud anymore. They don't even realize that those people, that's not even their land. They're not even Palestinians are Philistines, and Philistines come from Iran. History that we keep erasing is allowing us to repeat it again. We need to know what the facts of history or the whatever of history are, so that we don't repeat it.
That's right.
And we're stuck right now with a bunch of people who one day wake up or they feel this way, and then the next day they wake up and they feel this way. The problem is they're just the loudest.
Yeah.
And we have to stop that. We have to start. You know what? The adults have to come back into the room, and we have to take charge, and we got to spank the kids. That's just what it becomes. That's what it is. We got to stop putting them in timeout. We got to spank them.
That's right. Sounds good.
What do you, Dan? What do you? What I see you there formulating.
Well, he's absolutely right. I mean, look, coming from a person that, I can honestly say, no, I believe in God. I believe in Jesus Christ. I'm in South Alabama and everything like that, very Christian. You can't go 2 blocks and not find a church. And, but in the same token, my history as far as Israel and what it goes back to in Palestine and Israel, it's, I'm not as well versed as, some of our panel here is, but I absolutely agree. We do. We need to stop sitting there and being like, oh, okay, well, I shouldn't say that because I'm going to look down upon or I'm going to get my pee-pee slapped. No, we need to pull our big pants up and we got to spank them. If that's what we got to do, then that's what we got to do.
Yep.
Dan, what do you got?
So I'm not disagreeing with anything that's been said.
Right. No, that's the
However,
whole point. We can agree to disagree too.
Absolutely.
But the challenge here is the average person, and I don't mean just the American, but the average person around the world doesn't always see it the same way.
Of course.
You understand that I'm living currently internationally, and I plan to the rest of my life. Choice of marriage and have children with someone from another country, which is fine. I'm a proud American, and I'm really focused on what's going on in America. I have 2 adult children and grandchildren there, and I'm always staying on top of stuff. But where I'm at, this isn't even a topic of discussion. Nobody talks about this. They don't read it. It's not in their news.
Yep.
They're not paying attention. Anything dealing with the Middle East or anything dealing with Ukraine and all that, you can't find it in the national news, the local or the national news, where I'm at currently in Southeast Asia. They're just not talking about it.
I think it's funny because the internet, and this is kind of on topic, but off topic. I think the internet was a good thing, except it gave us too much information. Then we have people trying to scrub information from us and not giving us the proper information. And they're stoking the fear and they're stoking these wars. And, I can't believe I'm going to say this on, the internet, but I watched Putin's interview with Tucker Carlson and I was like, I actually believe Putin over Biden. That's crazy that I believe Vladimir Putin over Joe Biden. That's insane to me. But he came with receipts. He was like, this is how I feel. And here you go. And he gave him all the documentation. So it's kind of like, the only thing I heard about Joe Biden last week is that he got new orthopedic shoes so he doesn't fall. What are we doing? Where are we and what's happening? There's a lot of things that are going on. And today, my mother went and bought some chicken at the store. You can look on my Facebook page. It's 1.84 pounds for one breast. I'm like, that's not normal. 2 pound chicken. What is this? A 70-pound chicken? What is going on? This is crazy. And like he said, he lives overseas. And I bet you don't see any of that crap probably in the country you're in because overseas they don't. Finland's the happiest country. Why? Because they don't have the internet. Done. We have too much information and half of it is bad. And that goes to all this stuff we were just talking about with Israel and all this other stuff. We're just fed bad information.
Yeah. I'd like to add.
We're monitored.
Yeah,
Go ahead.
Go ahead, Dan.
Yeah.
So I was having a discussion. I was in a business meeting last night, and I was having a discussion, and AI came up, and I said, "Wait a minute." I said, "AI is a tool, and it's a tool. Where does it get its information? From the internet." Now, what kind of information is on the internet? A lot, but it's not all accurate. So, people are starting to talk about relying on AI and things like that. Well, AI is going to feed you the information that it finds on the internet.
I don't want to cut you off because I want to hear your second point, but if you created AI, you did, it would be what you see and your lens. That's why when Google's AI came out, it was shut down in 2 hours because there was no such thing as a Black or Asian Nazi. And that's what the problem is. We knew in the Marine Corps, garbage in, garbage out.
Yep.
And so go ahead. I'm sorry. That's your second point.
No, that's okay. So my second point here is we can have the discussion, but what's the action?
Yep.
What is it that people need to do besides stand up and have their voice heard? Besides voting, which we all know that it's the way elections are held in the U.S. now, it's questionable at best.
Yeah.
And if a third world country was doing the same thing that the U.S. has been doing the last couple of election cycles, the U.S. would probably come in and not certify the election. But with that said, what is the action that the average American or human being, for that matter, should be taking in response to all these things that are going on, to include what's happening in Israel, what's happening in Ukraine, what's happening with in Southeast Asia, dealing with China? What can the average person do?
I mean,
That's kind of the question out there.
Ken, I'll be short, but personally, like personal protection for your family is the only thing we can do. Arm yourself. Make sure you try to grow your own food so you don't have 2-pound chicken breasts that don't really exist. I mean, we have to go back to basics. Yeah. We literally have to go back maybe 50, 75 years and start living that way. Right. I mean, I'm not a big Bible thumper, but Genesis 3:19 says you're to work the land because someday you're going to become part of it again. And that speaks to me because we're in a time right now where the land is all we have. And they're trying to poison that.
That's right.
That was a point I was going to. Ken, I'm sorry. Yes. Didn't mean to interrupt.
No. Go.
That's my point. So how do we get paid? Digitally.
Yeah, everything's digital. Yep.
Only 3% of the fiat money around the world is actually cash or coin. 97% is digital.
Yep.
Push of a button. Government agency doesn't like you. Someone makes a mistake at the financial institution. You don't have enough social credits. You name it. Ding, ding, ding. There's a lot of reasons why, or, heaven forbid, an EMP. All that's gone.
Yep.
So we could always go back to God's money, which is gold and silver, but most people can't access physical gold and silver.
Yeah. So unless you're Bob Menendez.
Right. But like where I'm currently living, you can't do that. You can buy jewelry, but you can't actually get gold coins or silver coins.
Yeah.
Or bars where I'm at. I have some, but I purchased somewhere else and brought it with me. But now I'm in a situation I have it. The banks don't know that you go to take it into a bank to cash it out. They're going to look at you like you're crazy. Where I'm at. So what's the key point? And you hit it there, Rob. Land, hard assets. Gold coins, silver coins are hard assets. Land does not depreciate, and it's finite. There's only so much land.
Yep.
So
and China and Bill Gates are trying to buy it all up, so we better get it now.
Right. So that's where I was going. What can the average person do? We are tied to the digital world, but we can minimize the impact that we have. Get the money out of the digital. Don't sit on savings accounts. Work hard, save your money, and then retire at, now what's it now, 76, whatever it is nowadays. Yeah. Where you can actually start collecting your various retirements. 401ks, look this up. Some new changes are coming with 401ks. The federal government's coming down and putting in some new rules that's really going to jack up 401ks and Roth IRAs. And it's going to be positive for them and negative for the person that invests because they want the money. It's their money. It's all digital anyway. So
I just bought 6 acres of land. Yeah. I look at it. I agree with you. Gold and silver is what we all should have. Because no matter what, the dollar's not worth. I mean, what's it now? 57 cents on the dollar. But if you go back to 2 things, water and food, doesn't matter if you have money because you can live.
But you got to be able to protect that water and food.
with right. Well, now that I'm going to go a little bit off topic here, Frank. Sorry, but now that a judge in Illinois said that migrants have a Second Amendment right, I'm thinking my Second Amendment rights that they've been infringing on should ease up a little bit, because now if you're illegal, you can have a gun, so it's all good. Like, that's the way they're playing it, right? I mean, but that's not how it really is. We know that.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, and kind of to, again, the Second Amendment, I became a naturalized citizen. I served in the military. Because to me, it was, hey, I'll always be, my blood, Colombia runs through me. However, I'm an American citizen, and I fight for the red, white, and blue. I don't forget where I come from. However, the way I saw it is, hey, by me raising this right hand, I know that I'm giving back to a nation that, that said, just like it says on the Statue of Liberty, give me your, your poor, your this, yeah, and welcome me with open arms. I saw it as, hey, it only seems right to raise that right hand and say, hey, with this blank check, you can cash it, with my life behind it, because at the end of the day, I know that, if I was back home, and I mean in Colombia, things would be a whole lot different for me.
What I meant though, right? I want to clarify for everybody else, just so you know, like, I don't really care who's here.
Right. No.
As long as you're not here to do bad stuff. And my issue is that there are people who are coming in here that are from prisons in other countries, and we're about to have a lot more.
Yeah, they bring their shit with them. I get that 100%.
And we're dealing with that, and they're getting more rights than we are, and we all served. And that's insane. And I mentioned this last time, Frank, the fact that the president of the United States stole $130 million from the VA and gave it to migrants is disgusting.
Right.
I mean, we have 300,000 homeless veterans in this country. How the hell... We can't even take care of them, but you're going to give $2,500 free health care, all this. What?
Yep.
Yeah.
And we're paying for it. My question for everybody is, when's enough? See, they thought January 6th was like this big, insurrection. They have no idea. January 6th was 50% old ladies. Okay. And some of them got arrested, which is disgusting, but it was a setup, the whole thing.
It's coming.
It's going to come to a head. And if Donald Trump loses, I'm going to say this now, but if Donald Trump loses, we're done.
Yeah.
We're done.
So,
because I'm not saying he's my biggest fan. I'm his biggest fan, but I'll tell you right now, he at least has a set of balls, and that goes a long way.
So there's stuff coming before even the election.
Yeah.
So the digital dollar, that's going to touch everybody.
Yep.
And there's a reason why certain people are buying all kinds of land. They're taking their cash, their U.S. dollar, and they're converting it into hard asset. And once the digital dollar comes in and the U.S. dollar tanks, then they're going to convert it back to digital dollar and invest it through that way.
So basically, we're going to have a social credit score like China.
Yeah. So an example of, I anticipate everything I've been reading, and I read a lot. I'm a prolific reader. Where I'm at now, it's 55 of the local currency to the $1 US. I anticipate that to drop to between 15 and 20 of the local currency to the US dollar. When that happens, my military retirement check that I receive here is going to buy less.
Well, and I guess to kind of bring it full circle and to what we were talking about, does this seem like, I know back in the day, again, without social media and things like that, it seemed that the world was more pro-Israel and such, but it seems like there's been a paradigm shift where we're seeing a lot of pro-Hamas sympathizing, all around the world. I mean, you see it protesting in New York, you see it, and obviously in a lot of blue states, quite a bit, and to the point where we've seen that airmen in uniform, they set themselves on fire, saying, in regards to free Palestine and such. I mean, why do you think, guys, that is,
Free
there's
will.
been this paradigm shift?
They're all
Free
being
will.
paid.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, free will. You have the choice.
Right.
See, that's the thing is
Being paid.
but free will means you have the choice, but you're
Right.
going to make choices based off of what you think is the truth.
Exactly.
And if you're getting fed distorted information that you believe is true, how much free will do you actually have?
I mean, my question is who actually doesn't believe that George Soros pays all these people? Like, seriously, who believes that he doesn't do that? Like, I want to, you know what? Follow the money. I want to see his money trail. Seriously.
Yeah.
Because if you know, I don't know if you know about George Soros, but George Soros, where he started, he was befriended by a Nazi and helped loot and raid his own people. And then all of a sudden he shows up in America with millions of dollars. Like, how the hell did that happen?
Well, I think that in the time frame that we all grew up in, because I think here we're, 70s, 80s babies. Well, I know 70s. I know Ken and I, not as well as Dan.
60s.
I don't want to go there. I just
don't misidentify him, man.
My pronouns.
He earned that. I'm
an early Gen Xer. I'm an early Gen.
I mean, we all grew up at a time where the news, I guess you can say, still had some respect for movie stars. You didn't hear all kinds. There were scandals, not like you're bombarded constantly. Who blew who?
Yeah.
Who now switched
before the internet.
Yeah,
before the internet.
Yeah, before the internet.
When the internet took off, that opened Pandora's box.
Yeah. Do you see who got named today in Diddy's escapades? Prince Harry. So now him and his uncle are pervs. What is going on? The whole thing's nuts.
It does. Internet brought forth social media.
Yep.
And it just took off from there. When the internet came out, we opened Pandora's box. And unfortunately,
we can't close it.
It's like it was a cancer. And now we live in a world where it's like you have more people out there that are willing to believe what's on TV, what's on social media, what's on the internet, than people like ourselves that are saying, let's read more. Let's research stuff. That's what we did back in the day. We don't do that anymore. Research comes from the internet.
I will tell you, my daughter tends to lean liberal, and which she grew up on Marine bases, so I don't know how that happened, but I was talking to her today, and she was like, because the bridge in Maryland got hit by a boat. I don't know if you saw that.
I heard about that.
And that's like 30 minutes from here. So she was like, I just want to make sure you're all right. And then she was like talking about how somebody on the internet she was listening to on a podcast was like, yeah, that bridge is racist because it was too low. And I was like, what? And she was like, Dad, can you believe this is so crazy? And I was thinking, last year you believed that crap. Like now, so like I think a lot of people, what really is taking shape in America right now and is setting Donald Trump up for his return, I think, is not just necessarily like what we would call quote unquote minorities, but because I don't believe in that crap. They're only the people who are minorities are because you keep them there. The government keeps them down so that they can count on their vote. And I believe that. But I think the biggest number I saw was that millennials, 34% of millennials have gone to Trump. And I'm like, so I looked into it, and it's because they want the American dream because they're all 18 to 29 and they want to own a home and they can't afford it. And so I've always said, watch somebody's ideas and their ideals and all that. Watch it change as soon as they don't have the money they need.
Good point.
And that's exactly what's happening.
And that's what I was talking about. It's not just this next election and if Trump gets elected or not. There's things that are going on prior to that.
Oh, wait.
People are only going to change their perspective and take action on their free will based off of what's impacting them.
Exactly.
So that's where a lot of people are changing. Like you made a point, millennials are changing, and some other demographics are changing or shifting towards Trump That's because they actually are having day-to-day negative impact in their life based off of what is happening.
Yeah.
Whether it's the immigration from the southern border, or whether it's how they feel about what's happening in the Middle East, or what they see that's going on in Ukraine, or they're concerned about China. Whatever it is, each person's different, and how it impacts them mentally as they read stuff, or they're dealing with going to buy 2-pound chicken breasts, or whatever it is.
Yep.
So that's there's a shift coming.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, it's like I was telling Motomi, the trophy, as everybody knows her on the show, the wife.
It's difficult being the trophy.
Yeah. So I'll just leave it at this, because we'll wrap up because we're gonna make this a two-part show. So don't pop off after I finish this. So hold these thoughts, because for next week. But we were in a time, I remember when I was here, even in Colombia, and then coming to the United States, the one thing that everybody was afraid of back in the day was Russia this, the Cold War, because again, we would see the clips and whatever, and then obviously what happened in Lebanon too in the earlier 80s. I mean, the enemies that were known were obviously in the Middle East, instability, which still it's been going on for many years, and then the stuff with Russia, and then all of a sudden, once the internet kind of exploded, just it allowed this overly massive vomit of information.
Yeah.
That people just just kind of latched onto, and and then here we are today. So, but let's hold off this for next week. Don't pop off. We'll bring you guys. We'll talk more, guys. So thanks for your time, and thanks for your service. Hold those thoughts, because we're gonna be talking a little bit more about it. All right.
Okay.
So
Good.
Well, everybody, we'll definitely keep talking to these guys, because this is a really interesting subject, and I just want to expand on it just a little bit more. So, yeah, we need to keep the conversation open. So that's it for today, everybody. We're going to go ahead and index this show. So with that being said, Aistamas, Daisuki, Ara, get some. See you next week, everybody.